Alright, Hayes Mega here, and I got a little how-to slash hack video here on how to add a preload spacer to your surround light B. So, Hayes Mega has always thought that, like, oh, I feel like my forks bottom out a little too much, and I need to add a little more preload for it because I think Hayes Mega is a little too heavy for the front, okay? The back is fine, but the front, I'm always bottoming out. I just raced it in a hair scramble race, and I was bottoming out like freaking crazy, okay? Well, not crazy, but like every now and then the front would bottom out. And you could tell because it's very jarring when it bottoms out, man. You can tell when it bottoms out. Okay, so this is for surround light Bs that have the RST fork, okay? There it is. So this is a RST fork, the RST Killah fork, okay? These are supposed to be white, okay? But they're not white anymore. The previous owner painted them black. So this should say like Killah on it, okay? So this will only work for RST Killah forks. If you got like a D&M or a RockShox or something, this probably won't work. Okay, so you've got two fork legs, right? This one is your this is where your dampening rod is, okay? And in here is your spring. The spring is the one that holds the bike up, okay? That's the one that you need to adjust the preload on. So there's two ways you could adjust preload. You can add a spacer. Okay, so what that does is it compresses the spring a little bit so it holds itself up better. Okay, or you can get an uprated spring. Okay, so if you got too much spacer in there, you know, and it doesn't fit, the cap won't fit on anymore, then that means you need to change the spring. You need to get a stiffer spring. Okay, and if it's too stiff for you, then you gotta, you know, there's really not much you can do. You have to get a lighter spring then. Okay, so you got to take this cap off, okay? So to take that cap off, it's not the right size. 21 millimeter isn't quite the right size, but it works, okay? I think it's like a 20 millimeter, and I don't have anything like a 20 millimeter, okay? So I've already loosened it earlier, so it's really easy to take off, okay? So you're gonna loosen this guy. Okay. Some point it'll come right out, okay? And there's a little rod in here with a little washer or spacer right here, okay? So so you're gonna need to add a spacer in front of this, okay, to push the spring down. If you want to look at the spring, it's quite easy. So my bike is on a stand right now, so it's like kind of suspended in air. What you can do is pull up on the wheel, and it should just go right up because there's no spring on the other fork leg. Okay, and it will slide up easily, okay, until you run out of travel. Okay, so there's the spring right there. So you need to find something that'll fit on top of there, and I just found something right now, okay? And that's how you could take it out also if you ever want to take the spacer out. So I found out that this doohickey here on the end of the rod here is 31 millimeters, okay? And I found out a socket, a 3/4 socket, fits over that quite nicely, okay? A 22 actually fits a little better, but I had a 3/4 inch socket just lying around not doing anything. You know, I don't use SAE's sockets, so I'm willing to sacrifice this one to put it in there, okay? So I'm gonna just put it on top. Well, basically I'm just gonna drop this in there, okay? Dunk. Okay, I drop it in there. I'll show you it. Actually, I'll show you how to probably put it back in there. So I found out that that's 1 inch, okay? That spacer, the socket is 1 inch long, okay? If you want a longer one, you can use a deep socket, okay? And that's a 3/4 inch drive also, by the way. Okay, just in case you're wondering, 3/4 inch drive. You could probably use a 1/2 inch drive, but I don't know. Okay, so. Oh, I pushed it up too much. Okay, and there's a bunch of grease in there too, so try not to, I might have got dirt all over it. So yeah, you saw that. So I'm gonna put it with the open side, the drive side down, okay? Because the spring is like, it's a tapered spring, if you look at it. So whatever you're putting in there has to be flat, okay? So there it is. So it's a tapered spring. So this fits pretty nicely in there. This will, see, this kind of like, it's a little wobbly on there. So if you're wondering what the spring looks like, there it is. So it's basically a spring covered in grease with these little rubber covers over it. So it keeps it from sticking onto the fork. Okay, so you're gonna put this like this, okay? Got it? Let's put this on top, okay? And I'm just gonna push down. On it, okay? And then it should just go down. Okay, so it's, as I'm beginning to realize that it's gonna be harder to put the cap. So if you do add a spacer, it's going to add, obviously, preload. It's going to add pressure to it, okay? So hopefully there's a lot of, what I probably should have done is put a bunch of grease on the socket before I put it in, okay? Because that's going to be sliding around in there. So. Or, yeah, you could probably try to put some kind of condom on it. But there's, oh shit, it fell out again, come on. Okay, so what you're going to want to do before you drop this puppy in is put some grease around the sides of it, because this is going to be sliding up and down in there all the time. So you want it to, you know, have some kind of lubricant on it, obviously. There's grease in there right now, but I'm just going to add some extra. Okay, you can probably use something like a plastic pipe too if you want. You can find something about that size. I don't think that would be too difficult. So I got some just regular automotive grease right here. And I'm going to just slather that over the socket, okay? Okay, I'm just going to drop that in there. It would probably be better to use a bigger spacer, is what I'm thinking. 3/4 is like a little bit undersized, is what I'm going to say. Probably want something like a... Probably want something like a... Oh, there's a bunch of grease on here too. It's not really doing anything either, so I'll put some on here. Okay, just gonna put this in here. Okay, press down on the fork. Okay, so now it's much harder to get the fork cap in there. Okay, I want to go clean up my hands real quick. So anything longer than the 1-inch spacer would probably be kind of hard to get in there. Okay, what you're going to want to do is you got to press down on the fork, okay, on the fork cap. It's going to be harder to get in there now. Okay, screw it in. Once you got it in a couple threads, it should be okay. Okay, all right. Put that in there, make sure there's still sufficient grease in there. I think there should be still. This thing is constantly oozing grease out of the seal, so. Okay. I'm gonna go just very lightly snug it down, okay? I don't know what torque is supposed to be at, man, but. Okay. Tight, okay, but not super duper tight. Okay, and then I'm gonna get a rag or a napkin or something and just wipe the grease that came out of there, okay? Because grease attracts dirt, you know. Okay, so now we got a little preload spacer in there. Okay, so what that does is it helps the bike sit up more, you know. It keeps it, it'll have more pressure on it to keep it from bottoming out, okay? Yeah, if you're blowing through the stroke all the time, that'll probably help out, especially if you. So Hades Omega weighs 180 pounds. Okay, I'll tell you that now. I weigh 180 pounds. I feel like it kind of it kind of bottoms out a little bit if I ride it really hard, okay? So I think if I add just a little bit of preload, I think it'll be perfect. It's almost perfect for my weight. So if you weigh like say upwards of 200 pounds, more than 200 pounds, then yeah, you're probably gonna want to do this mod, okay? Because Hayes Mega is already riding it. I'm riding it pretty hard, and it's bottoming out, okay? All right, so we can do now. Just sit on the bike. Okay, go lower the bike. Okay, I'm gonna go sit on it now. Okay, let's move the forks a little. Wow, it's not wanting to move at all. Wow, what the hell? Yeah, there's a lot of stiction. Okay, so hopefully that does the trick. I'll let you guys know how it turns out. All right. It seems like it's having some trouble, but coming back up. It seems like it's a little sticky. That's what I want to say. That's why you gotta make sure there's all that grease in there and stuff. Okay, so it's kind of hard to do the preload on this bike because like the forks stick. Okay, they stick on this guy, so. But yeah, so that's a little mod you can do, or it's a little hack you can do to add a spacer. So I'm gonna try it out, and then I'll let you guys know how it goes. All right, here we go. Hope you learned something. I think the preload spacer helped a lot. I think that was a good idea. I felt like it never bottomed out at all. So it really helped a lot, but it feels weird. It feels like it's kind of topped out, and then when it hits, that's when it things. So, but I felt the front end was better than last week. Okay,